For more, let's cross to Addis Ababa and correspondent Maria Gerth-Niculescu. There was that initial report, Maria, of that massacre by Amnesty International. Now we're hearing more.
The report by the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission indicates that about 600 people were killed in the Tigrayan town of Maikadra on November 9th. According to this report, the perpetrators were members of a Tigrayan youth group called the Samri, who identified non-Tigrayans, mostly seasonal workers, before killing them with knives and machetes. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission says that the attack was planned and prepared, and that attackers targeted civilians based on their ethnicity. This points to possible crimes against humanity as well as war crimes. The violence has also displaced many people, and many of the survivors are injured or psychologically traumatized. The Commission therefore calls for humanitarian aid to be allowed into the region in order to help the survivors. But it's important to note that Ethiopian refugees in Sudan are confirming the killing of Amharas in the Tigray region, but they're saying that Tigrayan civilians were also targeted and massacred in Tigray. These claims are still, of course, impossible to verify because it's impossible to access the region and telecommunications are still shut down in Tigray.
Yeah, communications difficult with the region. While we're seeing over New York stop and start diplomacy when it comes to trying to pressure both sides to de-escalate, what's the latest on the ground?
Well, federal forces are still getting closer and closer to Tigray's regional capital, Mekelle, in an attempt to surround the city with tanks before launching a final attack, unless, of course, Tigrayan forces surrender before Wednesday. The leader of the TPLF, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, said that government forces were losing on several fronts and that they were using a 72-hour deadline as a cover-up. He also said that his people were ready to die for their right to administer their own region. According to the government, federal forces have now taken back several important cities in the Tigray region, such as the historic town of Aksum, in which the government says that TPLF forces have destroyed the airport. Humanitarian organizations are now voicing their concern about the government's intention to target Mekelle, saying that targeting civilians would go against international law. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, also urged all parties to protect civilian populations. The conflict has already displaced thousands of people within Tigray, and more than 40,000 Ethiopians have already fled to neighboring Sudan.
Maria Gerth-Niculescu, many thanks for that live update from Addis Ababa.